Barbra Streisand once asked me, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "Because there'll come a day where I can't. You know, there'll come a day where I really can't do any of the things that I do now. And I want to make sure that I don't think, if I'd only done that one thing, if I'd only tried that one thing, you know, if I only tried writing that one thing or doing that one movie or, you know, being on stage one more time." It's really not about desperation, or it's just that I know I won't be able to do it.
Her journey is far from over, but it is the quintessential archetype of many a girl's dreams to overcome adversity, insecurity, and pain, to perpetually revive yourself and rise to the top. But her beginnings heavily contrasted the abundance of adoration she received later in life.
I think that's great. You have a desire to do something, and I never believed in no. And I have to tell you something, I tanked. That woman said something about, you know, if you have a mishap or if you tank, she didn't say tank, but that's what it meant to me, that, you know, you can get back up. I've tanked, I've had huge losses, I've had great successes, I've been so lucky, and, but I do think that the thing about huge losses, it just makes you keep going. And I feel like a bumper car. What I would want for you girls, and what I would want for everyone, and especially women, is that you don't take no for an answer, because no is just some bullshit word that someone made up, you know?
One of America's greatest success stories may never have become reality. 19 years old and married to John Sarkeesian, an Armenian-American truck driver with a drug and gambling addiction, Georgia Holt shared the same fears held by many expectant mothers and contemplated the idea of aborting her child. May 20th, 1946, Sherilyn Sarkeesian is brought into the world. By the time she had turned 1, her parents had completed their divorce. Recently divorced, struggling to make ends meet, and only 20 years old, the social pressures shouldered by the young mother drove her to place Cher under the care of nuns at the local Catholic orphanage. Though her mother still visited for the few weeks she was there, the ordeal caused pain and trauma, leading her to question where her place in the world was. By her 10th birthday, Georgia had married and divorced the man Cher regarded as her father, John Southall. As the only person with dark features, she further questioned her place in the family.
I was dyslexic, well, I'm still dyslexic, but it was very difficult for me as a child because I failed, I couldn't read, I still can't see numbers very well. And my mom was like, "It doesn't make any difference, you're smart, you know?" And I said, "Mom, but I can't see numbers." And she said, "It doesn't make any difference. When you grow up, you'll have someone to see numbers for you." So, you know, she was always supporting me as an artist, you know, and said, "You're so talented." Also, we all sang, you know, my uncle played the guitar, my grandfather played the guitar, my mom and I sang. So it wasn't an unusual thing, you know, it wasn't unusual. My mom and I share the same voice, you know, so it wasn't unusual, but there was nothing about me that screamed movie star or icon or anything.
Also, I wanted to tell you this, and it's by way of explaining something about me that you don't know. So my grandmother picked cotton, and my grandmother picked cotton with my mother on the gunny sack. And it was a very rough existence. My mother got a job. My mother had a job where you called in every day to see if you had a job for the next day. was there a time then was really horribly embarrassing for me. I mean, it's something I'm never going to forget. And where I lost the soles of my shoes, and so I had to put rubber bands around the soles of my shoes so I could walk to school. So when I say I understand what people are going through, you never forget this. You know, I never will forget the things that I had to go through when I was young. And I want people to have better. I want people to feel good about themselves. I want them to have a good living. I want schools to be decent, and not just for rich kids. I want schools to be decent for everyone.
My mom said to me once, my mom was real pissed off at me, and she said, I was complaining, and she said, I was complaining about having no shoes until I saw the man who had no feet. And it was like, Cher, shut up and, count your blessings. So I got a big dose of count your blessings, and you have to do stuff for other people. I gave a big dose to my children. I still have a big dose.
Now living and acting in Los Angeles, Georgia Holt exposed the limelight to her daughter for the first time. The dream to bask in the lights of the stage was born. She was heavily inspired by the female silver screen powerhouses of the time. Marlene Dietrich, Bette Davis, and Katharine Hepburn. But a lack of dark-haired stars to mirror made Cher feel inadequate.
When I was young, I just was, all the women that were popular and famous, the models, the actresses, the singers, they were blonde. I was the first woman on Vogue magazine that had dark hair and dark eyes. Because what they did, if you had blonde hair, you could have brown eyes, or vice versa, but you couldn't have both. So it was, there was some stuff going on.
Her lack of confidence, like many dark-haired girls at the time, was exasperated by the ingrained 1950s homogenous standards of women on television. With her barrier-breaking days ahead of her, Cher started her fight against conformity from a young age. Her outfits and behavior began to emulate that of her idol, Audrey Hepburn.
What about this picture? The title, Breakfast at Tiffany. I thought Tiffany was with Julia's shop.
Yes, well, it is. And the title comes from the fact that this girl gets a great lift and fun out of walking down Fifth Avenue at the crack of dawn with a breakfast which she's bought in a drugstore and looking in the window at Tiffany's.
What sort of a girl is she?
She's what they call in America these days a kook.
What does that mean? Spelled with a K, I believe.
Which is a dizzy, gay type of girl.
Fascinated by her character in Breakfast at Tiffany's, Cher religiously wore oversized dark sunglasses at school, only for her rebellious nature to get kicked out for refusing to remove them. Her nonconformist attitude followed her through teenagehood. She learned to drive and could be seen cruising around downtown LA at the age of 13, only to be pulled over by police and booked a year later. 1962. Cher, famous for her lack of confidence, was given her first shot at climbing the ladder. Her time spent hanging around the LA studios wasn't wasted. Cher was offered a microphone to join in as backup singer when one girl couldn't make it. One chance encounter near Christmas altered Cher's life forever. November 1962. On a double date with her boyfriend at the time, a 16-year-old Cher sat opposite a 27-year-old record promoter and songwriter. His name was Sonny Bono.
For my own curiosity's sake, where are you from and how did you start?
Well, I was born in Los Angeles, and I started by meeting Sonny.
Well, I was born in Detroit, but I've been out here most of my life, so I consider myself a Los Angelesite. And I have been in the record business much longer than Cher, and then when we got together, we sort of generated each other. She was my inspiration, and it was just something that worked, something that was right. And we pursued the music business, and here we are, knock on wood.
After her roommate moved out, Cher welcomed the invitation to be Sonny's housekeeper. Before long, they became inseparable and soon began recording music. Alongside Sonny, Cher found the strength to perform that had disintegrated through her childhood. Sonny, then working for the Wall of Sound pioneer Phil Spector, introduced Cher, setting the wheels in motion for her first single, Ringo, I Love You. The single was rejected by disc jockeys on the basis they thought Cher's deep contralto vocals was a man's ode to Beatles drummer Ringo Starr. The unusually low voice developed from the male roles she assumed in school plays, initially proved detrimental. But that didn't stand in the way of Cher. 1964. Though he wanted to launch Cher as a solo artist, the stage fright she had experienced in her childhood was forgotten when she locked eyes with Sonny. Playing on their image, Sonny and Cher began to perform together as Caesar and Cleo. The singles were received poorly, and by 1965 had dropped the gimmick, returning to call themselves Sonny and Cher. Wanting to make waves, but only causing ripples, the duo went back to the drawing board. 1965. On advice from the Rolling Stones, Sonny and Cher hopped on the next flight over the Atlantic, landing in London, England. The search for a more organic following had begun. Touching down, the hippie couple instantly ran into a media storm, the likes of which propelled them to stardom. Their names appeared in every paper, up and down the Union, even garnering worldwide attention. The couple were immediately thrown out of the Hilton for their nonconformist fashion sense. It was neither mod nor rocker, something Londoners hadn't seen. The look created by Cher of fur vests, bell-bottoms, and striped pants became the rage. Their fashion style was being emulated. Taking advantage of publicity from their recent ordeal, Sonny and Cher released their first album, Look at Us. The album featured hit signature song, I Got You Babe. The song smashed the charts, making it #1 in the US, UK, and Canada. The feel-good hit became their most successful single and was a defining song of the early hippie counterculture.
I got you to hold my hand. I got you to understand. I got you to walk with me. I got you to talk with me. I got you to kiss goodnight. I got you to hold me tight. I got you to I won't let go. I got you to love me
so. The couple forged their own path through the more dominant British invasion and Motown sounds to solidify their own following. At the height of their success, the couple achieved a milestone matched only by Elvis and the Beatles. Sonny and Cher had 5 songs in the top 50 at the same time. In 1967, the couple had sold over 40 million records worldwide, but the monogamous relationship in the midst of the 1960s sexual revolution dwindled their fan base. Sonny, stubborn to change, refused to morph with the evolving musical landscape. In an attempt to revive their popularity, Cher and Sonny produced and featured in Good Times. Her first exposure on the silver screen proved unsuccessful. The seed of doubt planted back in Cher's head. Cher bounced back with a solo venture at the dissatisfaction of Sonny. Though cracks in their relationship began to show, from controlling her career to wandering eyes, they became engaged, promising family life. Cher became a mother in 1969 and tied the knot with Sonny soon after.
The something, that's the part that's so intriguing. What is it?
I don't know. It just happened. It's just timing, and talent, I think, and
Have you ever tried to analyze it yourself?
no, I haven't. He has, but it's too hard for me to figure out.
Sonny, what do you think?
I think it's a combination of things. I think timing, of course, is very important. And then the fact that we're a married couple has a big bearing on our success, because all our fan mail, kids are very happy that we're married and that we love each other. And I think the kids like this symbol, to see two people married that really, really do enjoy each other and love each other. And they like the music and the way we dress. They like the fact that we wear colorful clothes, and we do too. You know, that's us, and that was really us. And I think it's several elements. Plus you must have those songs and the.
I hope you won't take offense at this, but when I see you, I think of something out of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table as a page. Is that?
No,
did you ever think about that?
No.
That's a nice compliment.
Yeah, that's one of the nicest. I never thought about it. What did Jackie Kennedy said? Something very similar.
Very similar. She said he looked very Shakespearean.
That's it, Shakespearean or something out of medieval England.
And I enjoy it.
He's a little behind the times, that's all.
And I enjoy it.
How long do you think that I'm sure you're asked this many times. Do you think this will last? Not your popularity. I'm not talking about you personally. I mean, the mode, the folk song, thing.
I think it'll.
Said about Elvis Presley.
I think it'll last. It'll vary, of course. Everything varies, and it'll go to different styles and different things. We must change our style occasionally. You can't keep going with the same identical sound all the time or the same type of songs all the time. Otherwise, you're not fresh anymore. So if you stay fresh, you should have longevity with it, you know.
Thank you, Sonny and Cher.
Going for broke, the newlyweds spent $500,000 and mortgaged their house to fund their next picture, Chastity. Named after their child, the art film directed by Sonny portrayed the search for the meaning of life. Instead, the film sent them into financial ruin, searching for a way out. To make ends meet, they tailored a nightclub routine to a more mature audience. The dreary set spawned a heckle that soon became a regular occurrence and a highlight. Television executives took note, and before they knew it, they had made their way into homes up and down the country. CBS Television commissioned the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour in 1971. The reinvigorated and remodeled icon confronted the taboos of television head-on, appearing in outfits not seen on television before.
My clothes were shocking. You know, what I wore was really shocking. But I was going to wear what I wanted, you know, and that's what I was going to do, because I didn't want people telling me, you know, if my audience didn't like it, I would know, you know. Audiences will tell you what they think. So I just didn't care. It's like, you're going to tell me what I can do? I don't think so.
The exposure of her belly button on television was the first of its kind. The fashion barriers broken by Cher paved the way for the stars of today to experience limitless expression.
These girls are pushing the envelope, you know? They're just, hi, what's in you, you know? But at some point, I think that it won't make a difference. Maybe at some point the girls are going a little bit far, but that's because this is now, you know? I was doing it then, and these girls are doing it now. And self-expression is what artists do, you know? Artists are supposed to do art, and people, and you want to do art that impresses people and makes them feel something, and also makes you feel like, this is what I was put here to do. We have to do it better, faster. But, I mean, I think it's better for women today. I think they're stronger, they demand more, you know. I think we knock down some walls, but there are walls to, you know, there are more walls to be knocked down.
They seemed the happiest family, but under the surface, it was fractured. Rumors of Sonny's unfaithfulness to Cher seeped into the public sphere. After catching Sonny cheating, Cher mustered the courage to go solo. Despite the private breakup, Sonny and Cher agreed to continue broadcasting the show. Looking back, the deadpan mockery of Sonny, that was an important ingredient for laughs, took on new meaning.
At home, Cher praises me, and no, really, no, she really does. But when we get on the show, it's nothing but ridicule, you know. So,
Well, from now on, all that's going to change.
You mean that?
Yes, it's going to be ridicule at home, too.
Mustering up the courage to take the stage alone, Cher kicked off her solo venture with Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. The vivid music video and sultry dress helped distance herself from the family-friendly image she had accrued up until now. The song's themes address sensitive and poignant issues: racism, prostitution, and teenage pregnancy.
Preach a little gospel, sell a couple bottles of Dr. Good. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves, we hear it from the people of the town. They call it gypsies, tramps, and thieves. But every night all the men would come around and lay their money down.
Pictured embodying her Cherokee heritage while straddling upon a horse, the video for Half-Breed accelerated Cher's reestablishment out from under Sonny's shadow. Continuing to address racism, the song portrays the life and troubles of a biracial girl born to an indigenous mother. The hit became Cher's second solo #1 in the U.S. and proved to Cher she could make it without him.
My father married up your Cherokee. My mother's people were ashamed of me. The Indians said that I was white by law.
1974. In the process of ending their marriage, Cher had discovered that Cher Enterprises, the corporation formed by Sonny, was 95% owned by her husband, with the remaining 5% held by their lawyer, leaving almost nothing for Cher. After disguising her pain for over 2 years, Cher filed for divorce and charged Sonny with involuntary servitude. TV's power couple were no more. Approaching the end of the decade, Cher reevaluated her musical direction. The decision she made propelled her back up the charts, achieving the first top 10 hit in 5 years with Take Me Home. The move to disco proved fruitful for Cher. The outfits designed by Bob Mackie complemented the loud but sophisticated genre. The lyrics and visuals revealed a revamped, more empowered, independent Cher. But once again, Cher changed course, opting to share the limelight with rock band Black Rose.
And then there was Cher, who showed up with her kids, Chastity and Elijah. Are you going to be touring with Black Rose? Or are you all going to,
We're going to make an album in January. We'll be touring in the spring and the summer.
Have you been surprised a lot of people get this reaction about you going rock and roll again? People seem very resistant to the idea.
Well, people are always resistant to a new idea. You know, I've talked to a lot of people, and half of them think it's a good idea and half of them don't. So, you know, it's something that I want to do so much, you know. So if people eventually like it, then they will, and if they don't, they won't.
Do you think you and Les Dudek will get married?
No.
Cher forged a way through the press that had long speculated about her relationships and renewed her childhood dream.
I care about women's rights, and we have had to fight for everything we've gotten.
The early 1980s. The highly sexist, misogynistic culture of control over women, especially in Hollywood, was prevalent.
We have had to take it and fight for it, and it's not fair, you know? And like, if you are, I don't know what you can say on your program, but if you do the same thing that a man would do, you're a bitch. You know, if you would ask for the same things on a set that a man asks, you know, if you're quiet and you're sweet, then, you know, then people love you. And I'm not hard to get along with at all. But if you just ask for something, it's like, who do you think you are? So women have had to fight. I mean, we've had to fight for a lot. And I love men, you know, I think men are the greatest. But still, they haven't had to go through what we've had to go through and are still going through. And so I think maybe fighting is not the right word, but it's fighting in a different way, you know? We have to be twice as good. We have to work twice as hard. I like a lot of the things that are happening now where men are, you know, allowed to come in and pinch you on the fanny, you know, and then go, good girl. You know, that shit's not happening anymore.
Taking a musical hiatus, Cher spent most of the 80s focused on cracking Hollywood.
I'm really happy with what I'm doing. And if I got an award or a nomination, it would make it better. And if I don't, it's okay.
Don't you look stunning, my dear? So now you have won for Moonstruck, which is a terrific role. And how do you feel?
I feel real fabulous. I feel really great.
You say that foreigners like you. Yeah, I'm a foreigner. I do like you. What do you think?
I don't know. So far, the only awards I've ever gotten, this is my third Golden Globe, and I won Cannes Film Festival. And those are the only awards I've ever gotten or been nominated for. So, I mean, that's all that came to my mind.
I guess we know better, don't we?
I guess you guys are pretty smart.
Well, of course, I think this is going to be your year for the Academy, too. So, you know, we'll be crossing our fingers for that.
I hope so. I hope from your mouth to God's ears.
Congratulations, Cher. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
What did you mean by your statement on stage before, saying that your fans had to take a lot of crap?
I would have said shit, but you know, I couldn't do that.
Okay, what do you mean?
Because I think to be a fan of mine for a long time is a very difficult thing.
Simultaneously dazzling and shocking onlookers, Cher followed up her Golden Globe win with an Academy Award.
Talked about your mom, you thanked all these people, you thanked more back here. Can you tell me, in the most personal terms, what this win has meant to you?
Oh, Jeannie, I don't know. It's been really a difficult struggle to get here. I mean, really a difficult struggle. And now it seems so, I mean, it seemed worthwhile before, but it was like at the beginning of this road, every person in that audience was a person who wouldn't have given, you know, much hope. I mean, if I would have been, you know, a patient on the sick list, I probably would have died. So it was really, I just felt really, really good about being able to achieve something that seemed so impossible.
We've read lots of things about what it's like to work with you. Some people say that you're really tough, that you're really difficult, and other people have said, no, she's really a sweetheart. So are you a sweetheart or are you difficult?
Yes.
So what's next?
I just like to continue to do really good work. You know, I'd like to do movies that are helpful and movies that inspire people. I like playing regular people so that other people don't feel like they're alone in the world having hardships that can't be overcome.
Even though she'd reached new heights, career and societal pressures began to mount for the Moonstruck star.
Well, all right. Children, a career, the households, both households, construction work in New York, and you know what a delight that could be. A video, an album, and then the movies kind of came out on top of each other, so all of it has happened like at one time. So you're kind of like on the phone yelling at the guy at the construction company, and then like last night I thought it was going to be my first good night's sleep, and in the middle of the night, like I wasn't asleep yet, but it was about 2:30. Elijah came downstairs and he said, "Mom, I don't feel good. I don't feel good." And he had 102.5 temperature, so I stayed with him and put cold compress, you know, did all that mother stuff, you know. And he fell asleep at about 4:30, and then I got up at 9 o'clock so I could get ready to do this.
I feel like, what was the goddess? It's got all those hands. It's like, I feel like I'm juggling everything in the air at one time and not doing a good job of any of it.
1989, Heart of Stone, Cher's 19th solo album. Following on from the success of Moonstruck, the provocative independent female icon returned to the charts with a bang. Cher's outfit worn in the music video for If I Could Turn Back Time sent her back into the headlines. The Navy authorized the shoot, hoping the marketing ploy would bring in more attention from the youth. But the unannounced outfit, coupled with straddling a cannon on the USS Missouri, almost had the shoot shut down. The Secretary of the Navy even considered firing the captain of the ship, the single mark Cher's third comeback. But backlash from her risque fishnet outfit drove some networks to refuse broadcasting it. Despite the negative publicity, she went on to win the People's Choice Award that very year.
I'm really excited about it. You know, I mean, I haven't won that many awards in my life, so this is to go from not being nominated to winning is a pretty exciting thing, you know. I'm just so cool. I don't know. I think people know that I'm trying. You know, I think people know that I'm always working on it. And I don't, you know, and I have a modicum of talent, you know. I survive. I think that's what people like. It's what I like about people is that they survive. You know, I watched Gregory Peck and Olivia de Havilland walk out there. I would stand just for the fact they've been able to stay alive in this business for as long as they have. It's weird, I would never look to play a woman like myself, I don't think. I would look to play the women that you'll never hear of, the women that you read about in the smallest little one-page story in People magazine, or you see trying to just make life as easy as possible, but being really dealt something difficult. And I have different views about, I guess the older I get, the more my views change about what's important to do in a film.
Cher, what other things are there left for you to accomplish? You have been so successful in music.
I'm going to become a marine biologist.
Oh, marvelous.
I was going to say a vaccine you could come up with.
But
superconductors have already been figured out. I don't know.
Right, you know how good I am with that kind of stuff.
Are you driven for success? Is that so important for you?
Well, let's say this. I might be driven for expression because I have certainly not been successful at everything that I've attempted. I mean, I've been successful in every field that I've attempted, but I haven't been successful in each field at all times. You know, not that you can hope for that, but I mean, I like being able to express myself, and it's a necessity for me somehow. You know,
you also like shopping.
That's true. I have to pay
We're
my
working
bills.
girls. Everybody has to work.
So right, there's the emotion, the artistry, and then there's the
and then there's the money.
And then there's the money.
What are you doing now as far as just on your own or for?
I'm not doing anything right now. I just left GLAAD and I'm taking some time off and gonna reinvent myself.
1995. Chaz Bono, born Chastity, bravely revealed to the world that he was gay, and later revealed he was transgender.
It was a little bit difficult, but not as difficult as finding out that Chaz was gay. Because I mean, and I have friends with like 1 billion gay people, but until you go through it with your child, and then realize you haven't lost your child, that's a kind of strange thing to feel like the child that you know is a new child that you have to get to know, you know? And so that was, I started to really enjoy that process. But you have to take some little baby steps before you can go, yes, I feel totally comfortable with this.
In 2009, Chaz began treatment to transition his body. Disclosed in Becoming Chaz, a candid 2011 WOW Presents documentary, following Chaz's gender reassignment, Cher's resistance to the transformation was partly down to the medication and procedures her child would have to undergo to feel comfortable in his skin.
Okay, here we go.
I'm doing this because I want to try to help people. You know, I want to put a face on an issue that people don't understand. That's why I did this publicly.
There's public, private, and there's just public.
I would think your mom would accept it real well.
Yeah, it's hard for moms.
I'm afraid she's not going to be healthy. I'm afraid it's too much for her. And I worry about the drugs that she has to take in order to keep this. I don't know that much about it, but I want to make sure that whatever it is not going to hurt her. I know that Chaz was like, this is not me. I don't want to live this way. So I tell people who are going through it, just imagine that you wake up tomorrow and you're not the sex that you went to bed last night, and what would you do? Where would you go? Who would you, what could you possibly do to soothe yourself? So yes, I understand.
1998. The life of the man who had sparked the confidence in Cher to take to the stage was ended. Sonny Bono died tragically during a skiing accident. Broadcast on CNN, Cher's words at the funeral revealed the adoration she still held for the man who had launched her career. Without Sonny, there would be no Cher. In spite of the pain endured, Cher's tearful eulogy captured the very essence of his influence on her.
When I was young, there was this section in the Reader's Digest, and it was called The Most Unforgettable Character I've Ever Met. And for me, that person is Sonny Bono. And no matter how long I live or who I meet in my life, that person will always be Sonny for me. Thank you.
Amongst the gloom of that month, Cher was recognized for her contribution to the entertainment world, being awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame alongside Sonny.
Well, as you can tell, I'm having a little trouble today. Yesterday, about 2 o'clock, that 24-hour flu came around, and I think I would have probably canceled and missed my first ceremony if it hadn't been Cher, because I have to tell you how long I've been waiting since 1983. And that'll give you an idea how busy she is. We haven't been able to work out that schedule. And I just want to tell you, it's a delight today to introduce a lady who personifies the spirit, the glamour, everything that goes with Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, Cher.
Thank you. Thank you. The strange thing about my birthday is that that's when our special's going to be shown. You know, I think that Sonny and Cher means a lot of things to a lot of people. It means something different to everyone. And with Sonny's death, it reminded me how much of an impact Sonny and Cher has had on me through my whole life, since the first time I ever met him when I was 16, even until today, and even till the rest of my days, you know? And the special that we did, the special that I did for him, pretty much tells everything that I feel about him from the beginning till now. And I just can't think of a better thing than to have this star start the whole thing off. And so I'm so thankful that we've got it. And I'm also thankful that we've gotten it together, you know, that it does say Sonny and Cher on it, and not just my name or his name. So that's all I have to say. And I just thank you so much for coming. I failed miserably. I was bankrupt about a gazillion times. I was like, she's over, forget her career, you know, she's so many things that I went through. And I kept seeing myself as a bumper car. Do you know what a bumper car is? Yeah. Okay. So as a bumper car, and I kept seeing myself like I'd hit a wall and I'd go, okay. And I would back up and I would go in another direction. I would do something else.
How you doing?
fun.
late to
I know.
present.
How do you feel? Just a quick sense of your emotion.
I feel good.
Why are you so late?
Because I don't know. Because I didn't get dressed on time.
Could this be the biggest moment of your life or not?
Oh no, the biggest 2 moments of my life are my kids. This could be the 3rd biggest moment of my life.
Very good. Okay, we're rooting for you.
Oh no!
Congratulations.
But I was always myself. I just had to find another way to expose who I was. And that's why people go, oh my God, she just reinvents herself. That's not exactly true. What I would do is just do something different.
Going in a new direction for her 22nd album, Cher harnessed the newly developed technology of autotune to create Believe.
I don't think anybody could have anticipated the reaction. I mean, it was crazy, you know? And I would come out on stage every night going, what are these people doing here, you know? And we'd be playing a place for the 5th time.
The technique became known as the Cher effect. Originally used to mask off-key vocals, Cher's artistic use of autotune was the first known commercial use. The dance pop track that defiantly empowers oneself to overcome heartbreak and survive a breakup was particularly successful in Europe and launched Cher to new heights.
If you have the chance, you have to go for it.
I got you to hold my hand. I got you to understand. I got you to walk with me.
For the first decade of the new millennia, Cher spent most of her time performing residencies in Vegas. And in 2003, the Farewell Tour became the most successful tour ever by a female artist. Away from the bright lights of Vegas, Cher focused her attention on more pressing humanitarian matters.
Well, I have a school in Kenya, Shikimana, and I did that kind of by accident as well. I wasn't planning to build a school in Africa, but I was in bed and I was watching this couple. They were from Scotland and they'd come over for their holiday and they ran into these kids and they were trying to go to school in these shacks. And I just thought, well, this is not a good idea. This is terrible. And I called this Englishman, this old Englishman who'd built, you know, structures there, and we built a beautiful school. So it's just, I have this belief, what comes to you belongs to you. So if something happens to you and you are engaged in it, then it's your duty to do something about it.
You shouldn't say anything against the commander-in-chief, but as far as I can tell, he just thinks we're going to be in war. This terrorist war is going to go on forever, so it kind of means you can never say anything bad about the government again.
Experiencing the Bush presidency that, according to Cher, had almost killed her, made her an outspoken critic of Republican ideals.
We're really suffering because we had no help. We had no leadership. We had nothing. You know, we had the will of the American people to just keep going, you know, without help, without money. You know, there are people in America now that they don't even have food. They're losing their apartments or their houses because the government's given them no money to live on. So, I mean, it's a really, you know, if your president doesn't care if you live or die, that's a pretty hard pill to swallow, because you're just sitting there going, why isn't someone helping me? Like, I can help people, and there's lots of people like me who can help people, and so that's what you have to do.
what I'm saying to women is get your friends and vote. Because if you don't, if you don't vote, you will not recognize this country and you will lose everything that you just now take for granted, every right that you have. And I'm not being dramatic. Well, maybe I am, but I mean it, okay? I'm trying to impress this upon you because you've been through a time, you live in a time where you have freedom. You know, I remember a time when women didn't have freedom, and I don't want to see this happen to you. I don't want to see this happen to all you young women who have so many possibilities. You know, when I was young, my mother worked, but you didn't get a chance to have a career. Very few people had a chance to get a career. So I don't want to see this happen to you. I want you to have everything and more, and this man will take everything. I have never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like it.
This is what he's done. He made people that just disagree enemies, you know? And it's hard to, it's like, I couldn't be friends with someone who voted for him or believed in him. I just couldn't. If I had a husband, I'd leave him, you know? And I mean it, you know? That's my feelings for him are so strong that, boy, it's rough. I have no goodwill for him at all.
I'm 70 years old. I've lived through 12 presidents. And never once did I dream that there would be one through arrogance and ignorance who could change our world, who could change the face of our world. And so I know that, you know, when I was young, Vietnam was happening, and nothing happened to stop it until we got into the streets. And I know you can stop this. I know you can stop this because the power of the people is bigger than those assholes that are there in Washington.
I mean, I have to tell you something. It's insane.
I try not to have a potty mouth, but it's just me, okay?
While we were busy dancing in the streets about Obama, I mean, I remember I was at that inauguration and we were strangers dancing all around Washington, you know, and just delighted, you know, just delighted, like giddy. It was crazy, you know, and it was one of the best times I've ever had where everyone was mingling and we were all like the best buds. We didn't know each other, but it was heaven. I didn't realize that there were another group of people that felt the same way about Barack Obama as I feel about Donald Trump. They weren't happy. They weren't joyous. You know, they didn't think it was the best thing that ever had happened. You just didn't know it. But the truth is, I knew something. When I was stumping for Hillary, who I love, and who's really funny and a girly girl, so you would never know that, but I do. So we had to do, I don't know which state we were in, but we were between two big cities, so we decided to stay in the middle and just go and come back. So I was watching TV. It was a, you know, local station, and it was a big field, and on one side were all these pickup trucks. They were parked backwards so that you could see the tailgate. Every one of them had a Confederate flag. Then there were these men in camouflage shooting at these wooden posts about 5.5 feet high. And all these men in camouflage with, you know, AK-47s. So the local journalist just walked up and said, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" And they said, "We're preparing in case Hillary wins." And I will never forget that as long as I live, because I had no idea something worse was coming. People are doing things that I never thought they would do. I mean, we're as close, like I always used to say, this is a bloodless civil war. But I think we're as close to civil war as we will ever come, because he has turned our country upside down. There are people who believe the most insane things. So how are we gonna change them? How are we going to come together? And I'm not, oh, everything's going to turn out okay kind of girl. But I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what Trump's going to do, and you never know what he's going to do, and nothing is beneath him. But I do know Joe, and I don't know how, what Trump is going to actually do. What heinous thing will he do next? And I said to anyone who'd listen, if Trump can't be in the White House, he's going to burn it down before he goes.
That will get us through this is anger, because otherwise we'll be in sadness and depression. I was there the night with her when we lost, and I gave up and I came upstairs and I took a shower and I took my makeup off, and then someone said, there are thousands of people marching down the street. So I went down with none of my fabulous shareness, and I got caught up, and it took me out of my depression. It took me out of my sadness, and I thought, look, these people have come now. It's happening now. We can change this now.
It's insane. I've lived through 14 presidents, and I never thought that there would be a president that wouldn't care, that doesn't even like Americans. He goes to his people and tries to disrupt and destroy. We needed to go in we needed to make a curve in a better direction. We needed to change and have a bond between people that we haven't had a bond with, and instead of separating us, we needed to be brought together more, and we needed to make things that were wrong right. That he could just ruin our country in 4 years is astounding. It's just astounding that some man can come in with no knowledge, no character, he's not an American. He has no use for America. He just doesn't care. I was so thrilled when you guys had that baby Trump flying up. We were hysterical because we wanted other people throughout the world to hate him as much as we do. And I think now people are so glad that he's gone. No matter what he does, he's not the president.
When you and I spoke last year sometime, I said, is there anything you really would like to do that you haven't done? You never mentioned Oscar, but you said, I want to be president so I can make things right.
Right. Well, first we have the Oscar, and then we go for president.
I know Joe. I've known Joe since 2006, and I know what kind of a man he is. He's smart, he's strong, little temper, but he's a great man who's a smart man who's got all this experience. Now, Trump is it's like if I can't be in the White House, I'm going to burn it down. So what he's trying to do is, symbolically burn the house down so that Joe can't get things done. So, look, I don't care about him at all.
Okay, you ready? Ready? I love this because it's free. And we have all the time in the world, right? Is there anything better than a Trump rally? What about a sleepy Joe Biden rally?
(2020), Islamabad, Pakistan. In the throes of the pandemic, Cher focused her attention on a matter further away from home. Dubbed the most lonely elephant in the world, Kaavan received help from an unexpected source.
Kids on my Twitter feed started sending me this thing saying free Kaavan, and there was a picture. And I first tried to ignore it, and I thought, they'll just stop if I don't, because how am I going to go to Pakistan and free an elephant? So I had met this man in Qatar, and he had told me that he had helped free into another part of Africa, into a sanctuary, 300 elephants. So I called him like a year later and said, hi, you probably won't remember me, but probably you will. But I need to try and move an elephant from Pakistan to a sanctuary. And he said, great, I'll go. He left like 3 days later. He went to Pakistan, went to the zoo, went to Islamabad, went to the zoo, said, put a covering over that shed, take off his shackles, put water in that little pool, and get him some toys. And they did all of it. And then came the work. We worked for years to try to do it. And we went through different administrations. And when Kaavan said that it was a good idea, that helped us unbelievably. We were in the Supreme Court for a while. Well, when I first saw him, it was difficult because when elephants are traumatized, to help them feel better and bring endorphins, they just go like this, and their body is rocking like this and their head is going like that. And so it was hard to see him that way. But Dr. Amir got really friendly with him, and even though he kept doing it, Dr. Amir could get close to him. He was bathing him and singing a really bad version of I Did It My Way. And so they became very close. I mean, we're Free the Wild, and so we did the heavy lifting, for to go to the Supreme Court, to, petition everyone. And then we called, we are called Free the Wild. Then we called in Four Paws because they have doctors, and they're a huge organization. And so Free the Wild and Four Paws brought him out and got him on a transport. He lost half a ton, some unbelievable thing, so we could get him on a smaller transport plane. And he had to stay in a little, not a little cage, but a cage for his own welfare so he didn't rock out. And they gave him a little bit of, sedative, not that he was still, completely coherent, and they were feeding him and talking to him. And then he landed in Cambodia, and we had already landed, so we met him, and then that was amazing, and then we had to go on a flatbed truck all the way to the sanctuary, which took us 5 hours. I love animals, but I love animals, but I love people. You have to spread it all around.
Cher, the star who refused to be boxed in, stood up to conformity and championed female independence, proving the doubters wrong with every change of direction. Cher remains one of the most successful, enduring, and groundbreaking talents of the modern era. Her influence on women in the industry and the direction of modern music is incalculable. From rock to pop, to folk to punk, to disco to new wave, even hip hop, Cher has evolved her sound through the decades, refusing to be labeled. Standing as a beacon of hope for many who don't fit society's constructed norms. Whether it's through the microphone or on celluloid, Cher, to this day, continues to make indelible marks on the entertainment industry. Despite her trials and tribulations, Cher rose to the top, time and time again, over a career spanning 6 decades, justifying her status of one of America's most enduring performers and role models. Unlike her childhood, dark-haired girls of today now have someone to emulate.